Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of FanFic Breakdowns. I'm your host, Smash King 24.
And I'm your other host, legit ElizabethWWEFan.
And we're here to give you the news and reviews on all your favorite Super Smash Bros. And other related Nintendo fan fictions. This week we've got a very interesting fanfic for you. It's our first M-rated story that we're reviewing, and it was actually a submission for Ellie's Rated M contest that she hosted back in 2015, I think.
That's correct.
So about a year ago. This is This is Descendant Theory. Descendant Theory by Inuyasha's Lullaby. And it's a story that about an interesting murder. I don't want to say it's a murder mystery. It's more of a slasher horror than a murder mystery.
Oh yeah, it reminds me of I don't know, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Halloween or those kind of movies.
You can totally see where the inspiration is from the story, and it's actually kind of cool because not too many people write slasher horror Smash Bros stories. It's kind of a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
And I think the story does it pretty well, honestly. A few things that could be fixed, but we're gonna get into it anyways. So let's talk about the plot, the characters, the setting, and the theme, just like before. And before we get in, I'm just going to say right away that this story is 10,000 words in length, which means you should...
6 chapters.
Yeah, so 10,000 words over 6 chapters. So you should be able to finish it in like a good half an hour, I'd say. It's really not that... I actually just read it today for the first time in about half an hour, and it was actually a pretty good read. So let's go right into it. So
with
the plot...
Yeah,
with the plot. So... The halls of Smash Mansion run red as Princess Peach flees for her life from 2 psychopathic murderers. Most of her loved ones are dead, leaving her with little choice but to turn to the few friends that remain to fight. It's a race against the clock as Peach tries to unravel the mystery behind a twisted game of life and death. Ooh.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, that's not the summary in this story. That's kind of one I just made up, as it usually goes with these videos. But that's basically the gist of the plot. So the main character of the story is actually Princess Peach, and I believe I honestly think she's really cleverly written in this story. I like it when authors write Princess Peach as a smart character and not just the airheaded blonde that she's kind of portrayed as in the Mario games.
She's not like Karen from Mean Girls. She's definitely smarter.
Yeah. And she's got a lot of crap going on in this story. The story follows pretty much her as she's trapped inside of a mansion that looks like something ripped right out of a Silent Hill game, where there's blood on the walls. There's chains hanging from the ceiling. There's bodies on the ground. It's something right out of a nightmare, and probably something that isn't really too new to anyone listening to this, since anyone who's really into horror has kind of been there and done that as far as this story's concerned.
Oh, yeah.
But the author is really good. Notice this when I was reading. She's really good at painting atmosphere through the use of imagery. And
yeah, she's really good at setting the scene.
Yeah, she is. And the narrator in this story feels like another character in the story that is alongside Peach, but is just telling it. And that is the perfect way to write your narrator, as a person who is there witnessing. Like this is the third person narrator who's kind of an all-knowing, all-seeing narrator.
Oh yeah.
She doesn't just tell the audience what's going on, she shows it. And that's something that I think a lot of authors struggle to do. And she seems to do it pretty flawlessly, honestly, in this story. Like, I was really impressed. I was surprised I didn't even really hear about this one before.
Right.
So, but yeah, as I was saying, the plot, that's basically the plot, and it gets really intense as we go along. So we're gonna start naming off the main characters. We already talked about Princess Peach, and she's not the Princess Peach that most people would know. She's kind of a... Well, it's hard to tell what her character's like in the beginning, because in the beginning she's just like, WTF, what's going on? You know, like, I guess as
anyone... She just wakes up from a head injury, and that usually messes people up.
Yeah. And she has friends in the mansion. She has like Mario and Luigi and Zelda. These are people that we're told that she has a close relationship with. And then she wakes up. She gets like hit in the head, or someone attacks her, and she falls down the stairs and she hurts herself. That's kind of how the first chapter starts. And then she realizes that something dreadfully wrong has happened with the mansion and the people that reside within it, because when she wakes up, she sees that there's guts and blood all over the place, and there's just nobody around, and she's wondering, like, is everyone dead? Is she the only one left? And who's doing this? Like, who? Like, that's what she wants to figure out. Is she's trying to figure out who has done this to them.
It's pretty much the big question of the entire story, really.
Yeah. Now, I'm not sure if the author was trying to hide the identity of the identities of the murderers in this story, but for me, I kind of knew who they were right off the bat, and anyone who kind of takes a better look at the summary or even at the little quip she has in between the chapters will pretty much get an idea of who these dangerous people are. And so we're gonna list them off in the characters, because I don't really think it's spoilerish, because I feel like sorry, go ahead.
No, like, I was just thinking that when I first read this originally back last year, it definitely was. I think it didn't click in my head who it was initially, but now that, like, I think about it, I'm like, I should have known immediately. And so when I did realize who it was, I think I was like, oh my god, like, how did I miss that?
Well, there's only a few characters that you can refer to as Blue Net, and she does that quite a lot. She does that quite a lot in this story, so
yeah.
I'm just like, it's no secret for me, but I don't know if it ruins the surprise in any way, but I was kind of just expecting them to show up, and then I was more curious to see who was going to live and who was going to die. I already know who it was. But moving on, so we've established Peach, and she's confused. As for her actual personality, she's not really I don't know, she comes off as someone who just really cares about her friends, but yeah, she cares so much about her friends that she values the lives of her friends more than her own. Like, the people in her life is the reason why she even goes on to do the things she does, which is why she's so concerned and she panics so much when she can't find them or when she learns something that had happened to them. So it's a lot more of a deeper personality given to Peach than what.
It's almost like a motherly instinct. Kind of
in a way, yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool. We're also introduced to two other swordsmen, Link and Roy, who are actually alive when she finds them. Link's actually drunk when she runs into him, despite the fact that she says that. Yeah, despite the fact that she says he's not an alcoholic. The reason why he was drunk was because he's like, well, I'm gonna die, so I'm just gonna drink, because why the hell not? And then Roy is pretty much the same Roy that we see in every Smash Bros. Story, where he's just this fiery head, this hot-headed guy who is very protective of his friends, but can also get ticked off really easily if you say the wrong thing to him. So she runs into them, and then they basically tell her, like, yeah, man, like, everyone's dead, we gotta get out of here, and we have to run away, we have to stay away from them. They constantly refer to these people who they're trying to avoid, and then Peach has no idea who it is she's trying to run from up until about just a little more than halfway through the story.
Yeah.
But these people that they're talking about are actually the murderers, and I don't know, should I say their identities? Because I feel like it's not really spoilerish to say it, because their names are in the freaking tags. Like, they're tagged.
Here. Yeah, okay, so here, before you do, if anyone is annoyed or sad or angry that we do this, apologies. Our sincerest apologies to you. Feel free to unsubscribe. Feel free to give us a dislike. But yeah, we're doing it anyway. So sorry, but not really.
Oh, okay.
Okay, go ahead.
That works, yeah.
Yeah, that worked.
So,
an apology, but not really.
So the great big murderers in this story, if you haven't guessed from looking over the summary or picking out from in between the chapters, the murderers are Martha and Lucina. the same Marth and Lucina from Fire Emblem, the same Marth and Lucina that starred in Shadow Dragon and Awakening. They've got the capes, they've got the swords, they've got the blue hair.
They're almost identical.
And they're almost identical, yeah. They're also pretty OOC in this story, like really, because they're the murderers. It's like that goes against everything they pretty much stood for in their respective games.
A little OOC.
Yeah.
That like in Canada, winter is just a little cold. Like, get out of here.
Oh man. So we're listing them off as characters because they pretty much are mentioned throughout the entirety of the story and have their own little back and forth that they do. Their little playful flirting, if you can call it that. It's really kind of just weird what the things they say to each other. Lucina is completely the opposite of how she is in Awakening, where she's kind of like this excitable kid character, like a girl who just wants to like, but she's kind of like the insane little girl where she wants to like squeeze a teddy bear so hard that its head pops off. And
she kind of reminds me of Perry from Fate.
She actually, you know what, Perry would be a much better pick for the story than Lucina in that.
But Perry's not in Smash, so
yeah. Perry would have been, yeah, like if Lucina was actually Perry, it would have been actually pretty good, I think. Marth and Perry.
Yeah, Perry just wants to kill everything.
Yeah. And Marth is pretty much the same thing, except he's the ringleader. She looks up to him. She doesn't call him daddy, but she might as well because they do a lot of touching and stuff.
It's an incestual relationship.
It very much is. That was weird to me. It's like, oh, I wouldn't expect anything less from my descendant. Now kiss me. I'm just like, whoa, what? He pretty much says that to her, like in one of the first chapters. So, and you know it's them because the author constantly refers to them as the blue net, you know, and that's kind of a common thing too. And it's one of my pet peeves when authors refer to characters by their hair color. A lot of the time, it's okay to do every now and then, but all the time, which is what she does, I'm just like, okay, well, I know it's Marth and Lucina. Like, I don't know if you're trying to hide it, but yeah. So they're the murderers, and the big question that everyone asks when they eventually do confront them is, why are you doing this? And
which is always the big question when anyone kills anybody, whether it's a multiple people or even just one.
Oh yeah, why are you doing this? And I read the story front to back in about half an hour today, and I'm still asking myself this question: why did they do this? Because I still have no idea why they did this.
Well, I do, but I don't
They do state the reason why, but I feel like that is a very poor motive, in my opinion. But we'll get into that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they're the big bad wolves, and they're going around. They're killing people. How are they doing it? Well, people are being mutilated and strung up by their guts. So they're doing it with their swords, probably. That's my guess. They did it with their swords because they had their swords on them. But Marth actually,
in a nutshell. Yeah,
Marth actually uses a super scope though at one point and blasts a hole through one of the characters. So I'm just like, oh, did they use one of the items to kill the character? Like that'd be kind of interesting to see like how items could be used to kill people. I know that sounds kind of weird, but I mean, like, if you took a freaking beam sword, does it actually cut through people if it wasn't like Smash Bros? Or like, does a bob bomb actually make someone obliterate someone completely when they're holding it? I don't know. It's just one of those things I thought about. I like it when authors do we're not in a Smash fight, so anything that we do to hurt each other actually hurts us and doesn't just knock us away. You know?
Yeah.
I always thought that was kind of a cool thing, and it kind of it's like a headcanon of mine how they're able to do it in the games, but it would never work in real life.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So that's pretty much all the characters. We're not gonna say who lives or who dies because it's a really intense. I'm not gonna say it's a fight. It's a really intense struggle that goes on. There's a lot, like, because Marth and Lucina are kind of these shadows on the wall that are constantly like laughing, and they're like the freaking trick-or-treaters from Nightmare Before Christmas. That's like,
really? Because they kind of remind me of Joker and Harley Quinn.
Or even, actually, that would be pretty good too, yeah. But I don't know, I felt like the thing is with Joker's actually kind of smart, but Marth and Lucina were just crazy.
Yeah, I just really like the Joker and Harley Quinn, that's all.
Oh yeah.
Especially Harley Quinn, because, you know, she's gorgeous, and two, she's insane, so yeah.
Yeah, I think she's pretty awesome.
Great minds think alike.
Yeah. I'm not sure if what inspired these personalities on Martha and Lucina, though. I don't know. I kind of felt like it was a little bit cliche in a way. It's like,
Oh yeah.
we're freaking murderers and we're just doing it because we're crazy.
Like, I know people snap, but like still.
Well, okay. We're gonna talk more about the story in a sec. We're gonna move on to the setting really quick, and then the theme. So the setting takes place in the Smash Mansion, as we established, and this is the same mansion we see all the time, except this time it's like upside down. It's freaking dark. There's static in the air. There's whatever. Like, it just reminded me of something out of Actually, I don't know if the author is a fan of Corpse Party, but I really got a Corpse Party vibe from the way she was describing how she starts on the 4th floor, then goes down to the 3rd, then the 2nd floor, which is kind of what happens in Corpse Party when you're exploring different floors of the school and you're looking for your friends that might be dead. You ever play Corpse Party or no?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, never. Well, Corpse Party was kind of the same idea behind this story, where you've got these innocent kids that wake up and they're in this school, and then there's dead people and ghosts and blood, and they're trying to get out or figure out who's killing them. And
Right.
so it was really the setting that kind of linked it to that for me, though, because they're both giant buildings that you're just walking around in, and it's dark and you don't know what's going on. So yeah, I think the mansion actually works pretty well for this kind of story, though, because it was really creepy.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you.
Like, there's a part where she goes down to the infirmary. I don't know if it's in the infirmary. It's like, come on, every horror story needs the infirmary. But
oh yeah,
she finds like the Pokemon, I think, in there, and they're all freaking strung up like
marionettes.
Yeah, it's pretty gruesome, honestly. But she does a great job with describing it, man. I was getting tingles. I'm like, oh man. It's like, I don't know, I like it when stories do that.
Like, when I read all of my submissions, when it was like I have like maybe a dozen submissions into the Rated M contest originally, and a lot of them, some of them were not that good, and like I would skim them and just kind of whatever, which I know I shouldn't admit, but oops. But that one was one of the very few that like I read every single thing. Oh, like I was sucked in, and that's why, spoiler alert, it won first place.
It did, eh?
Yeah, it did.
Well, I think this story deserved, honestly. But like reading through that scene with the Pokemon, I was like, oh please, Mewtwo, don't be in here. Please, Mewtwo, don't be in here. And she actually goes through the names, and I'm like, oh frick, he's in here. And it's not really because.
Don't be silly.
I know, but I don't know. If you ask me, if there's anyone in the game who's freaking, no one can kill him, it's Mewtwo. I personally think, but whatever. I was like, it's a story. Whatever.
Yeah. Anything goes, almost.
Anything goes.
Almost.
Now, as for the theme, there's no real theme or moral. I have the theme is basically it's a slasher horror. There's no slasher horror genre, but that's the theme of this story. You read it for the content.
Yeah, slashers don't really have themes except for just kill.
Pretty much. Kill. It's just an excuse to kill characters. And
basically.
To torture people.
Torture the readers and the characters alike.
Yeah. So overall, I thought it was really, really well done, honestly.
I agree.
It was a little... There were some things I wasn't really a big fan of, but they're kind of inevitable in these kind of stories. For example, I don't like it when authors underpower Smash Bros. Characters, and a lot of them are in this story.
Well, yeah, but I guess in a real horror movie situation, a lot of people don't really have weapons, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, you gotta be helpless, right?
And also, Peach doesn't really have any weapons to begin with, like not a sword or gun or whatever.
Yeah,
so
she doesn't.
It doesn't really work. I mean, turnips don't really count.
Yeah, but in my opinion,
I'm pretty sure all the toads are dead in the story. Who knows?
The toads in her dress.
Seriously, who thought that was a good idea? I know this is kind of off topic, but like that was so stupid.
Okay, I don't know if they come out of her dress. They might just come out of nowhere. I don't know.
I don't Keep that thought to yourself.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But Martha and Lucina as murderers, I feel like they could be easily defeated if someone like, say, Palutena or Ganondorf just said, yeah, no, you can't do that, and just like smacked him in the face. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like they're just human, right? They're Smash Bros. Characters. Sure, they're super powerful. They're warriors, but I feel like there's a lot more other smashers that could just contest them anyway and just say no,
Oh,
forget
yeah.
that. So I wish there was no real explanation as to how this all happened. It was just
If it
like,
had been like Bowser, then like it could have been a bit of a struggle, but
yeah,
like, or even Ganondorf.
there's no explanation as to what starts it. It kind of just starts.
Yeah, it's
And-
very like in the middle of everything.
And then when we ask ourselves why did it start, I'm still left asking questions like, why would they do it for that reason? Their motive behind the whole murder game was, I don't know, pretty shallow in my opinion. I don't know if that's because of time constraints though, because I know this was a contest entry. It's still a really well done story for a contest entry though, man. Like I can't imagine this would have turned out if she wasn't on a timeline or something.
Yeah, because she pretty much submitted it very last minute,
Mhm.
which, as she said, like it was literally the midnight. It was like 11:58, 11:59 p.m. her time.
Mhm.
I think she's an hour behind me or whatever. Yeah, she submitted it like almost at midnight the next day.
Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty good if she got it in.
Because I gave him until midnight the next day to do it, to submit it, to finish it.
Yeah.
Because I'm generous like that.
Oh, you're so generous.
Aw, I know.
There is a bit of a romance. I mean, it's kind of a loose. I feel like it was just a romance thrown in for the sake of romance.
Yeah, I didn't look at
And I'm
that.
not talking about Lucina and Marth.
No, that's one thing. I don't mind that, even though it's weird and like gross. But like the other romance, like I don't know if I said anything originally about it. But yeah, I kind of feel like I said it was kind of out of place. But like I don't know. It was kind of weird just to have it thrown in so suddenly.
I was okay with it being like, you know, if this is our last day on Earth, I want you to know that I love you kind of thing. Like that makes sense to me. What doesn't make sense is let's make out and then he puts his like hand under her dress. I'm like, are they running from murders or is this like, no, like, and then I'm glad that the author actually didn't go further than that though, because
because that would be stupid.
Because she's like, I didn't want it to be cliche like that. I mean, but she was starting to go with it. I'm just like, please no, please no, please no.
And also, for the record, one of the major rules of a horror movie is you're not supposed to have sex. So, because you'll get killed. So,
oh yeah.
have you ever seen Friday the 13th movie? You know that's true.
Yeah, and Nightmare on Elm Street. Ugh. That's the only way to kill people though, when they're naked, when they're butt naked in the shower or in the bed. Like that's the best way to kill them.
Basically, that's the most vulnerable point.
Yeah, so there is a bit of romance, and I mean it is kind of bittersweet, but I don't know. Like I don't really have much to say. I don't have much to say on it, honestly. Like she put it in, she didn't go that far out with it. I'm glad, but it wouldn't have made a difference to me either way, honestly.
Yeah, if it had just been a platonic thing, then
because we know that Peach loves everybody, all of her friends equally, at least.
Oh yes, she's that person.
Yeah. So.
Any other
things I have here? I noticed that there were a lot of great references to both the Fire Emblem and Legend of Zelda series. There's a part where Peach asks Link, like, well, like, can't your Triforce help us? And then he's just like, LOL, no, because Din, Ferore, and Nehru like hate my guts or something like that. It was kind of funny. But he was really drunk. He was drunk, yeah. So I thought that was kind of funny. On that note, though, I noticed that there was a like it's so okay. This is kind of maybe just me, but when you're making your characters swear, like at least have a reason for doing so, because I felt like a lot of the time they were just swearing for the sake of it being an M-rated story.
Yes, swearing is an art form.
I'm like, do people swear like this every time they talk all the time? Like even in a high pressure situation? It's like I'm trying to think. Like even in movies they don't really do that though. So I'm like, what the? I don't know. It kind of made it seem like the author was just doing it to portray her own person onto the characters.
Yeah.
Just to appear like edgy or cool or whatever.
Like I said, swearing is an art form.
So,
it really is an art form.
Yeah, like because I've read stories that do it and like they say it, but I don't even notice that they do it. But when I pretty much notice that they're cursing in every sentence or every other word, that's when I'm like, okay, well, it's like I know what you're trying to say here, but you can.
Yeah, you have to take note of the character, of the setting, and the situation.
Yeah, I don't know. It just kind of made them seem dumb because pretty much every character does that in this story, and even a character like Roy. Like I never really liked it when Fire Emblem characters swore because they don't really have the same type of vocabulary that we do in their games. So.
Well, depends really on the character. Someone like Crom, when he does it, like it almost fits him.
What does he say?
I don't know. He just says damn.
Like they do say damn. Like that one makes sense to me. Anything further than that, though,
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know.
Well, also the time he said to Sumiya, what the hell was that for?
Oh, they actually say hell in the games?
Well, he said it once because Sumiya punched him in the face.
Oh. I always try to...
Because she wanted to slap him, and she's like, I thought that's how you slapped him. And Melissa's like, you punched him. It's the thought that counts, right?
Wow. I don't know. I always try to avoid using hell just because I don't want anyone to be like religion in your story, and
please.
So because I've seen people do that. It's like, this is a story where heaven and hell don't exist, so why are you saying hell? Like I've seen that before in reviews, so that's why I always try to avoid doing it now, because I'm just like, man, I'm just gonna freaking step on someone's toes and not realize it.
I just don't care. I just feel like it.
Maybe that's the right way to do it.
Yeah, I just kind of don't care and just go, don't like it. Oh well, too bad.
Okay, so anything else I've got? I say, there are some OOC characters and they're underpowered. We got that, and the motive behind the murders, it's a little bit dry, and I don't really want to go further into that just to avoid spoilers. There was a part. This happened several times, especially mid to halfway to the end, where suddenly a character appears out of nowhere and she's holding Ike's sword, Ike's Ragnall. And Peach even picks up his sword and tries to run away with it. Has anyone listening to this ever tried to lift a two-handed sword, let alone a legendary one like the Ragnall? Man, two-handed swords are freaking heavy.
Yeah.
And for someone like Princess Peach to just lift this thing up and run with it, like it just encumber her if she tried to. She would be dragging it, if anything. So when the author talks like, yeah, she took it and then she tripped and then she dropped it and it flew across the room, just like, no, just like that sword is not that light. Like she should have just used something smaller. Like even Link's Master Sword would have been fine, but Ike's two-handed, like Ike carries the sword with one arm too because he's super strong.
Well, yeah, especially with Smash 4.
But yeah, like I couldn't lift the two-handed sword, or I could lift it, but I couldn't even swing it like that with that much dexterity, let alone like being able to run with it. So I don't know. I thought it was kind of just one of those factual, logical errors. I'm just like, oh man, that doesn't really seem like it would work, but whatever. It was just something I'm just nitpicking here.
Yeah.
My last point, it's a really good one, and I already mentioned it before, is that this story is very beautifully written.
Yes.
It was a great use of imagery and immersive narration that I really, really liked, and that's pretty much what drew me into the story. So she really knows how to tell a story. Beginning to end, and it had me locked in my seat pretty much until the end, which was good.
Yeah, the only little gripe was the use of the word blue nets, and I don't know if that's just me. But no. I cannot stand that word.
It's not even a real word.
It's not.
It's not a real word. I'm certain it's not, because nobody has blue hair unless you make it blue. Like, what do you call someone who has like green hair? A greenette?
Yes.
So like, I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not really a big fan of the whole hair color character thing, but other than that, yeah, this story, I thought it was an excellent read. And honestly, I think it's actually one of the better ones we've reviewed so far.
Oh yeah.
Like in terms of narration and writing quality, like this one had everything. The only thing it really lacked for me was the character development, because I like my characters, but the story was definitely there, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Better than me. I'm pretty terrible. Let's be real.
We're all terrible. We're fan fiction writers.
Trying, and we all have our different aspirations. Some of us want to be real writers. Me, excuse me. And then others are just like, it's just for kicks.
Yeah, that's kind of me. So if I end up failing miserably, I guess I don't have much to lose. Except maybe my dignity.
Yeah, maybe.
So yeah, any final thoughts?
Looking back on it, I did read it again since when we decided to do this one, and I do not regret having it as the winner. Even like the second and third places were both really good, but like I'm glad I picked that one as first place. No offense to Blade Wielder 5 or my good friend Manadi, who came in second and third respectively. But I liked it. I just had a couple things that just kind of irked me, but Yeah, other than that, I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it, and I like dark and twisted things, so I really, really enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, it's definitely one of the best horror stories I've written
Yeah,
I read. I mean,
yeah, like for my contest I held, it really fit what it was about, and that's why I liked it. Wasn't just smut.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's why I was like, let's try something different, and so that was different by a lot.
Yep. So okay, so that was Descendant Theory by Inuyasha's Lullaby. 2 thumbs up. Smash King seal of approval. If you don't know what that is, you'll find out in the last episode because Ellie hasn't heard it yet. But that's how we're officially scoring these things. You get the Smash King seal of approval.
Hey, can I start screaming now, or your drums? Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Well, someone freaking mentioned to me. He's like, "How are you grading these stories? You just give them 2 thumbs up and that's it?" And I said, "Well, okay, we can give them a score, and the score is you get a stamp, Smash King seal of approval. There you go." So,
okay, can I tell them how we're like scheduling things, because they might be like, "Why are you squealing right now?" So the review that's coming out this week is the one that Smash is talking about, and the one that we're doing right now is going to be coming out another week. So
you'll get this. You'll probably be listening to this video the first week of August 2016, something like that. Wow.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I know I'm being really selfish, but like, oh my gosh, sorry. Anyways, okay, let's end this before I start screaming.
Okay. So thanks for listening, everyone. We hope you enjoyed this a little bit longer episode, but hopefully we didn't put you to sleep with our terrible antics. If you enjoyed our content, leave a like, leave us subscribe, leave a comment, send in a suggestion of one of your stories or one of your friends' stories, and maybe, just maybe, we'll end up reviewing it. We have a kind of a short list coming, so...
Oh, yeah. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or our fanfic.net profiles. I'm also on Tumblr at legit.ElizabethWWEFan. I know Smash isn't on Tumblr. He should be, but whatever. So, yeah, feel free to follow us, send us suggestions, like and subscribe, all that stuff he already said, but I'm just regurgitating because I can.
Thanks for watching, everyone. My name is Smash King 24.
And I'm legit Elizabeth WWE fan.
Happy smashing.